Greetings. We're almost there. The new season is just upon us now. So, practice session kicks off tomorrow, Friday, and just before the official practice session, hopefully with the sandbags off, I thought it would be good to revisit my predictions. So, I've made some pre-testing predictions. Now I have post-testing predictions. Has anything changed based on what I've seen in testing? It's very hard to quantify testing. As I've been saying all week, it's only testing, so it's very hard to make out anything based on that. However, let's get straight into it. I don't want to waste your time on this one. So, 2022 constructors standings, as we know, it was Red Bull in first, Ferrari in second, and Mercedes in third. I think that's all we need to say about that. You can see the rest of the standings just there. And then my pre-testing predictions. So, pre-testing predictions, I was saying Williams in 10th, Haas in 9th, Alfa Romeo in 8th, AlphaTauri in 7th, Alpine in 6th, Aston Martin in 5th, McLaren in 4th, Ferrari in 3rd, Mercedes in 2nd, and Red Bull, surprise, surprise, in 1st. Has anything changed based on what I've seen in testing? Well, perhaps, but not at number 10. Number 10, as you can see, it's still Williams. They look better than I anticipated, but they still need a technical director. This is a really, really big issue for them. What can they do? They have one very good driver and one rookie, which is going to be an issue for them. So for that reason, I think they're going to be at the back of the pack. They're not going to be far off the other cars, that's for sure. But I just about tipped them to finish up in 10th place. But point scoring, as I said previously. Then in 9th place, AlphaTauri, so they're dropping down a little bit from where I predicted them pre-testing. You can really see things are just not working for them very well at the moment. I don't know if this is a hangover from last year, if it's got to do with the fact that they're up for sale, basically. Red Bull now questioning whether or not they want the second team. Nick De Vries, good addition to the team. Yuki Tsunoda, I'm still not convinced about him. I think this could be his final year in Formula One. So, watch this space. Then 8th, so I have moved Haas up to 8th. They can do something amazing this season, potentially. Well, they did something amazing last season, let's put it that way, but they can do something amazing by not finishing up in last place, which I think is a good result for them. The driver pairing, it's a very good driver pairing, experienced drivers, and that ultimately should be the differentiator for them between AlphaTauri and Williams, in my opinion. If they do any better than 8th, absolutely fantastic, and you've got to hand it to them. But I don't have expectations beyond that. Alfa Romeo then in 7th place. They looked pretty good in testing. I think they were running light fuel loads. They do have the Ferrari engine, which is a pretty good engine. But, they were looking very good in testing. But to me, it came across as that team that were doing the glory runs to get a few headlines. Of course, Guan Yu Zhou was the fastest driver on day 2 of testing last weekend. Then in 6th place, I have McLaren. McLaren do not look good at all, unfortunately. I had previously put them in 4th place because I was saying they're going to bounce back. I really think they're going to lose so much ground in the early part of the season before they bring through those wind tunnel updates. And whether or not those wind tunnel updates actually work is another very big question. So that's why I have McLaren languishing down in 6th place. And it could be worse. It could be worse. Then in 5th place, it's Alpine. So they're moving up slightly, courtesy of McLaren moving down. Nothing hugely impressive about Alpine, but at the same time, I didn't see anything that was a huge worry. It was interesting that they were the only team that was slower in testing this year than they were last year. So it indicates either they've got the sandbags on or they've gone backwards. Hard to know. Then in 4th, Aston Martin. Yeah, there's a big discussion. Will they break into the top 3? Will they remove Mercedes and Ferrari? Or can they even compete with Red Bull? No, I don't think so. I think they've put a lot into this car. All new parts, adding Alonso to the team as well is, he's a great replacement for Sebastian Vettel. But Lance Stroll is still a problem. He lacks a little bit of coordination. He needs to finish races and he needs to finish them consistently. And I've just seen too many collisions from him in the past. But the car itself, I think the car itself is going to be good. But I suspect that Mercedes were sandbagging a lot. I suspect that Ferrari were also slightly sandbagging. I hope Red Bull weren't sandbagging. Let's just put it like that. But Aston Martin should have a strong start to the season based on what we've seen. But the development battle, they're going to fall behind. But look, 4th place will be a great result for Aston Martin, as we know very well. Then in 3rd, dropping down 1 position, there you go, Mercedes. As I said, they probably had the sandbags on during testing, but there was nothing hugely impressive about that car. It looked like Ferrari were edging them in testing. And so, of course, I have put in Ferrari number 2. So they've been elevated up 1 space from my previous prediction, the pre-testing prediction. And of course, that means Red Bull in 1st place. You'll notice I'm speeding through the top 3. We know everything we need to know about these cars. Big battle for Mercedes will be the inter-team battle once again. Of course, George Russell versus Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton needs to fight back against his teammate. Within Ferrari, you could argue the inter-team battle is going to be a big factor as well. Leclerc, well, he was fairly impressive by comparison to Sainz last year, but Sainz had a lot of bad luck and he had a few incidents as well, so he needs to get that out of his game moving forward. And then, of course, at Red Bull, Max Verstappen, he's just going to walk through the World Championship if testing is anything to go by. Now, I do keep saying it's only testing, but they were by far the best car last year. They look like they're still the best car in testing. And, you know, practice is coming up tomorrow and maybe we'll find out more. So that's where I'm going to leave it for now. Really looking forward to the new season kicking off this weekend. And yeah, let me know in the comments who you think is going to do well. Who's going to be the surprise? Are Aston Martin going to pull it out of the bag? And don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well and like this video. Leave a comment. Any engagement really, really helps. Thanks for joining. Speak to you soon.